Hello everyone, this is Gary from Big Spud and I hope you are well. Today I want to talk to you about a new gadget in my life. It's the Sage Barista Express espresso machine. It's also marketed as the Breville in other countries. Here it is here in the box. We're going to do a little unboxing, have a look at what we get in the box, and then I'm going to have a go with some espresso shots and hopefully make a drink. That'll be a bonus. So I've been after a bean to cup machine for a long time, and I've been thinking about all the different brands and the varieties and what I want it to do. And over the past few months during lockdown, I've really missed my cappuccino. I love a cappuccino. I watched lots of video reviews on YouTube. I talked to friends that have got other machines and read loads of blogs and reviews. And I settled on this Sage brand. Sage have got about 4 or 5 different machines in the range. This actually sits near the bottom end of their market, but this has got all the things in it that I want. But I'll talk more about the other ones a little bit later on. I really trust the Sage brand. You can see other videos up here of other products of theirs that I really enjoy, and therefore I was happy to stick with them. I've also got a close friend who's got another one higher up the model spec than this one. So we had a good chat about whether that one would be right for me or this one, and this is why I've settled on this. So let's unbox it, have a look and see what you get. So let's start by having a look at the box of the Sage Barista Express. Let's get into the box itself. Let's start with the manual, so a little bit more on that later. Here's your portafilter that doses out the coffee for you, very heavy and sturdy. This is the tamper to push down the coffee grounds. In here, a variety of cleaning tools, some brushes and little gaskets to help maintain your machine. And this is a unique to Sage device, the razor. You put this on the top of the portafilter after tamping to help scrape off excess coffee. And here are different baskets, pressurized and non-pressurized, single wall and dual wall filter baskets. These are different depending on the types of coffee you're using. Now, there's something I don't like about these large appliances when you have to tip it on its side to get it out. I really don't like it. I wish you could do the whole thing upright. I don't feel very unsteady taking something out of a box on its side. But there we go, I've tipped it back up. So this is the milk jug that comes with the Barista Express. This is really cute. What I really like about it is the temperature gauge that runs along the front. I'll show you that in action a little bit later on. And here's the grounds hopper that the beans go in. With a lock on the top to lock it in place on the top of the machine. So got the machine out there. Here's the water chamber located at the back of the machine and the filter provided with it that goes and slots in. Just taking off the front grill now, and this tray slides out. This is where the grounds go and any overfill. That basket at the back can be used to hold other gadgets that come with the machine, like the cleaning accessories and the baskets. And here's the machine up close, sat on my worktop. So there's the bean grinder. There's the amount of grind, fine or coarse, that you can adjust. Very important for getting the espresso the way you like it. There's the tamp at the bottom there, stuck there by a magnet. Power switch, very, very exciting. The dose amount, that second knob there you rotate to say how much coffee you want it to dispense. You can override that any time. That button tells you whether you want to use the single or double filter. There's a program function which I've not used, allows you to adjust the temperature and timing of the device, and single and double shot buttons. On the side here, turn that to the right and it doses hot water. Good if you want to top up for an Americano. Turn it to the left to make the steam wand work. There's the shower screen and where the coffee grains come out as well. One more quick look at this bottom tray. Just one detail I missed earlier that I want to show you. As it fills up, this little device at the bottom floats up to say empty me, which is great, so you don't need to guess when to empty it. When you start seeing that little symbol at the bottom, you know you need to tip out the excess water. Right, let's make a drink. I've disabled the sound here because it's a coffee machine, makes a lot of noise. So here I am, I've pushed it in and it starts dispensing coffee grounds straight away. I shake the basket a little bit and that just helps settle the grounds back towards the middle. Dispense the grounds, and I've seen this technique in other videos, just nudging the coffee towards the middle of the portafilter, just so that when I tamp it doesn't spray all over the sides. Now I tamp. This takes a little while to get used to, the technique and the pressure that you need to apply. Just going to flick off some excess grounds there so it doesn't get caught as I lock it into place now. Just a bit of extra effort. Cup under, and I'm using the double shot. Now please note I'm using decaf beans here. You'll note that decaf beans have a slightly shorter extraction time and don't produce as great a crema as caffeinated beans, so please don't snipe me in the comments if you don't like my espresso here. But bear in mind, of course, this machine is all about the customization. You adjust the grind setting, you adjust the dose, you adjust the tamp to get the crema and the extraction exactly the way you want it. So that one is finished, and I'm going to turn to my milk. I'm using whole milk in this case. I've just got the steam wand fired up. It's about to squirt a few jets. There we go. That's now ready to use. Now please note, I'm not a barista. I'm not trained. I've only had a few goes with this machine, so I'm not yet an expert at using this. I'm also making a cappuccino as opposed to a latte, so I try to get a bit more foam on the top than you would with a latte. That's a whole skill set in itself. So to start with, you just get the milk swirling. You'll see it going round in a whirlpool there. That means the milk is starting to heat up. There's pressure starting to go in there. This is a really good sign that your milk's on the way. A lot of people advise that you put the spout at about 3 o'clock. That ensures that you get that rotation and that the steam forms micro bubbles in the milk and swirls around and swirls around. It's also recommended you put your hand on the bottom of the jug, and that will give you a guide for when it might be nearly ready. As it gets too hot to hold, it's approaching the right temperature. And as I said before, it's got a temperature gauge along the side, heat activated of course, so we can see as the bars fill up along that little chart when it's going to be ready to pour. I'm just going to zoom in on that because it's quite hard to see. You should just see some of the blocks shading in. I stopped mine around the 60-65 degrees mark. And then really important, as soon as you finish, give it a really quick clean to get all the milk crust off the steam wand before it settles. Give the steam wand a little blast. And now the pour. As I said earlier, I'm not a trained barista in any sense. I'm still getting the hang of it. But based on videos I've seen, I've tried to get my cappuccino just right. Hey, what can I say? Looks a bit more like a Mr. Whippy, but hey, it was really tasty. And it's not a real cappuccino until you give it a little dusting of cocoa or chocolate powder there. Covers up any mistakes you might have made. So what's my verdict on the Sage Barista Express machine? I've had it for a week now. I've really enjoyed playing with it, testing it, tweaking it to make it part of my daily routine and work out exactly how to get the best out of it. And that's an important thing to talk about. How do you get the best out of it? And that comes down very much to personal taste and how you like your coffee and what you want it to taste like and the profile of it and the kind of beans you buy, and there's so many variables. And that's really important. If you're looking to press a button, get a great coffee every morning and go, this is probably not the machine for you. You are effectively taking up a new hobby. What's the grind size? What's the dosage? How do I tamp? How do I get the milk just so? As I said earlier, there are other machines in the Sage range going up to the Barista Pro, which has a dual boiler. In other words, it can heat the water and the milk separately, and that makes that a little bit faster. I was okay with that sacrifice. Then there's the Oracle range, which can practically do the whole thing for you, bean to cup, hardly any intervention by you. My friend has one, it's really great, but I really wanted to play with it and tweak it, and that's what this machine affords me the luxury of doing. But that could be a negative. If you don't want to put the time commitment in to play with it and explore it, try a different machine. What else is not so good? The manual. So this is not a cheap bit of kit, but the manual they provide, I suppose, tells you how the machine operates and functions, but it gives very little hint on how to make a good coffee. So if you need that guidance, you've got to look elsewhere. But for the money you're paying for this device, you could get a lot more guidance. I've been all over YouTube, and I'm going to recommend some in the links down below, because there's a whole bunch of different YouTubers doing fun things with espresso, but also this machine specifically. I'd really recommend going for a search if this is the machine for you. I feel like Sage, Breville could put a bit more in the manual to give you a bit more guidance, because I'd worry people would buy that machine, try it and go, this tastes horrible, and feel like they've been ripped off. You really need to play with the machine to get the most out of it. There's a one-page guide in the manual that is quite helpful, but I feel like they could put a bit more in there to give you a boost, to make sure you know you're getting to good coffee really soon. Other small things. I've seen that other models in the range have got a wheel in the base, and that helps you roll it back and forward on the counter and lock it into place. This could really do with it, because where it sits on my counter, it's under the cupboard. I need to pull it out, put the water in, put it back again. So that's some negatives there. What I will say, okay, it does do great coffee. Yes, you need to play with it, but once you get the great coffee, you absolutely nail it and you're super happy with it. Going along with that, a lot of customization. You're able to tweak that coffee and get it exactly how you want it. And the look of it, like everything else in the Sage range, it's that brushed steel finish. It does come in a piano black finish as well. And places to store things. You get a load of good gear in the box, and it provides a really neat place to put everything. There's the drawer underneath, the tamper sits magnetically under here. It's just well thought out, well thought through. You can warm cups up here. Doesn't get boiling hot, but you know, warms them up for you. So there's a place for everything and everything in its place. Really good design for Sage. Before I go, I want to tell you about some of the coffee vlogs that have helped me while I was making my decision and learning more about espresso. I'm still very much at the start of my journey. I want to talk about Artisti Coffee Roasters, a great channel. I will link to them down below. Showed me loads how to get the most out of this machine, and particularly working with the milk. The Lifestyle Lab, a Canadian vlog who goes through every single Sage Breville model, comparing them side by side. Absolutely invaluable, helping me make the right decision for me. There's also Hoon's Coffee Lab. Lots of small tweaks with the Barista Express. Really top guy. But the godfather of them all is James Hoffman. You can't mention coffee on YouTube without mentioning James Hoffman, the World Barista Championship some years ago, and now has his own roastery in the East End of London. Absolute god when it comes to talking about coffee and espresso. He's worth listening to alone, even if you don't like coffee. Very enjoyable. So that's my experiences. Have you got one of these machines or one in the range? Tell me more about it down below. What am I not doing with it? What have I forgotten? What have I missed? What are your experiences with it? Have you not enjoyed it? Have you sent it back to the manufacturer because you didn't enjoy it? I'd be really interested to know. Thanks. If you could like and hit subscribe, that would be amazing. Have a great day. I'll see you again. Bye.